Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of Clone Evolution. Whew. Hate it when I leave a little bit of extra vapor in my lungs. Just talk too long with vapor, gets to start stinging. It's not good for you. So, hey, Fear Legions, welcome back. Hey, George Washington, welcome back. I got some good news and bad news. No, for the last couple weeks, I've been kind of in the dumps because one of my family members is passing soon. And everyone thinks tomorrow is going to be the day. And today I actually got to say my last goodbyes to them. So I was like, as sad as it actually felt like quite a bit of a relief off my chest because I was worried they would die first before I got to say anything. And it's weird too. I think it's true what they say. If you get a chance to say goodbye, it does seem to make it less. But we'll see once they actually pass. It almost kind of feels like they did after saying goodbye. No, it's not related to the virus. More to the lockdown, but we'll get to that on another day. But yeah, let's hope Clone Evolution's a good episode today. I was actually having some good luck today setting up the different streams. And I had some simulcast experiments going. And I'm almost able to simultaneously cast the show to more than one platform now. It was a little bit laggy yesterday and it came out a little bit smoother today. So I was happy with those results. Especially once I get my new computer going, it should multicast even better. Yeah, thanks everybody. Yeah, Larry, don't worry. I'm going to be back to make an Entropia episode soon. I went through a bit of a busy stretch with family and fucking work situations, but everything is almost resolved now, and my new computer's coming, and I'm dying to make some new episodes with Entropia turned up onto higher settings. Should be fun. Now, I was thinking of doing an episode of Entropia tonight, but I want to try going for a walk outside. Pretty sure that should help. Get a little bit of fresh air. Now, at least the family member that's passing is very old, so it's not like it was young or anything, but still tragic nonetheless. Now you gotta cherish your moments with your family while you got them, right? Because a lot of times when you're young, you just think everyone's gonna live forever. It's not really how the way things work. Yeah, let's try a battle so I can get a bit of a drink. I'm dying of thirst. I came pretty close to beating this episode or this stage dungeon level quite a bit today. I think I had him down to like one hit a few times. Yeah, Fear Legion's commenting, hey, what's up's here too. He's saying that the Discord server is growing. I do believe it is. It's pretty sweet. Now I think Discord's like the new Twitch or whatever, right? So that people just use it for communication. I don't know. Can you stream through through Discord? It's only a matter of time. Now the changes that made streaming possible with OBS is they added what is it called? Virtual camera. So basically when I run OBS, I can get it to go through other things now. No, that's fine. I don't need ownership of another group. I appreciate the offer though. Now I've realized in life that before I used to take on so many projects, I really gotta ask for help more so I can get more shit accomplished. If I try to do everything, then it's just not gonna happen. So one mistake I used to always make as a supervisor. A lot of the times I would do the work myself because my workers couldn't finish it, but really as a good supervisor, you're not supposed to do that. You should be able to supervise your workers enough that they can get it done. allocating tasks, right? You're not really a good supervisor if you're the one doing all the tasks. That's one good thing the union taught me about being a supervisor. They were very strict with that. Like, once you're the supervisor, you don't lift a finger. It's like the only thing your job is to make sure everyone else is doing it. Not that I'm the supervisor of the show or anything, but just when it comes to big projects, I realized take too much on your plate and it's hard to get everything done. So I dream of one day having a show producer. That'd be pretty sweet. I gotta get into better shape so I attract a really hot babe to become my show producer. That's all I need is 6-pack abs, I bet. Who am I kidding? 6-pack abs. If I could just cut off half of this gut, I'd be happy. No, I think tomorrow will be the day. Pretty much trying to get most of the grieving process behind me, and then should be able to get back on track with a little bump in the road here, but got another 30 pounds to lose. Now I'm optimistic because my brother's weight loss went so quick. We always compete a lot, so I will be tempted to try to compete with him. Alright, this battle sucks. Oh fuck, I can't even skip it. No, that was a really good idea I had setting up the Discord. Hope it works out for you. Can imagine, like, hopefully the game it'll keep growing and growing. Man, I went onto the Discord page for the Battlefield 2 game that I play too, where I used to play before they took it away. DICE shut down the servers. And it was one of those games you can't artificially create servers, so you're fucked once it's down. But anyways, yeah, so I was reading about that, and the maker of it's got some more progress. But his co-person that he's teamed up with hasn't got back to him because he started a new job. So hopefully he's going to get back to him and... Oh yeah, no, he got back to him and said he started a new job. So he said it's going to be a while before he gets back with any more major updates. So I can hardly wait till we see the next major updates. Now I'm looking forward to doing some stuff in Entropia because last episode I left off, I was going to import some from stuff from Calypso, sell it, and then get some more traveling done. But I had bad news when I went and checked the auction. I couldn't sell my items or import them because the import fees were over double what I would profit from actually just selling them. So it wasn't worth it to ship them. So sadly, I'm going to have to fly all the way back to Rocktropia, trade terminal the items, and then fly to go pick up the items and travel. So that's probably what I'll be working on next episode. Now I'll pick up the infinite ring bonus. Then we'll do the bounty hunter missions. See how many we can get done of these today. Hey Vector, how's it going? Yeah, that was the one really good news with all the testing I did with multi-platform streaming. My computer did lag a little. So I was like, alright, that means when I buy the new computer or when it arrives, I should be able to actually notice a difference. That was my biggest fear. That I would spend all that money, upgrade, and I wouldn't make it any better. So hopefully it is better. The computer will work and it will be better. Keeping fingers crossed. Now that's what's new with you guys in the game. Someone was messaging me and telling me there was some sort of big thing coming soon. I hope they're right. I can't remember what it was they said. Hopefully chess. Chess is my favorite event in the game, so I'm always hoping it's going to come back. Yeah, I think this is where the hardcore beginning is going to be. Where I have to buckle down, stop vaporizing for a few weeks, get into better shape. Don't think I'm going to quit drinking booze, but cut out the vape at least. That'll help me up my diet, get on track. Once I have no energy or desire to eat food, it really helps. It almost feels like cheating. Like most people when they do a diet, they have to go for like, I don't know, caffeine pills. I did try the caffeine pill once, like the method of taking caffeine pills to speed up your metabolism. Boy, did it work good, but a little bit dangerously fast. Now I was kind of surprised because most people said with weight loss pills they didn't notice much result, but I was taking them with extreme fasting, which you're not supposed to do. So yeah, the pounds were just flying off. So it was pretty effective. I think in that situation I lost about 30 pounds in 2 months. So 15 pounds a month is pretty excessive. But that's from fasting and weight loss pills. Oh yeah, and I was working a physical job at the time, so it was a challenge to do that. Each day I was like, holy shit, will I make it? No, that was the best though, because we were working outside in the blazing hot heat. And it was like so hot that it was like heat alert, where they're telling you to go inside and not go outside or you could die. And here we are outside trying to work. Excessively uh, cardiovascular draining exercise. So I was drinking like 4 liters of water a shift. So it was sweet. I'm like, man, everyone always complains when they're trying to lose weight, they can't drink enough water. I'm going to believe what fucking running around outside lifting weights in a heat wave will do. You really want to drink water then. Wasn't hard to do at all. Just guzzling it. The only shitty part about that job is we never had washrooms around. So it's like, unless you sweated it all out, you really had to go. Alright, that's one and complete. Let's try to get some good purple potions and get a fucking warp gate. Vampire is almost as good as a warp gate. Does anyone remember how I can change this default team lineup? I'm trying to remember how. I think, was it the arena that I had to set it? Man, it's fucking annoying having to change it every time. Yep, so that'll be quite a few steps to go. If I can finish tomorrow, starting the new diet. I've already got the working out part on track. Decent workout, 2 or 3 days in a row now. Maybe I shouldn't jinx that. Wait till I get a good weekend. Yeah, it's still good. Yeah, Pat and Ian were discussing what they miss most about going to conventions on the NES Punk page or podcast, CU podcast, whatever they call it these days. I was just thinking the same thing. What do I miss most? I think I noticed what it is too. Is I went to conventions for, I don't know, 20 years every year. And almost every year I changed things up a little bit. But for the majority I kept doing the same things. The one thing that I used to never do when I first started going to conventions, yeah, first when I first started going to conventions, I would go to the show floor where all the promotional stuff was. Like all the new movies coming out, all the new video games, and just collect all the promo material. So it was like a Halloween, where I'd just go out with a bag and try to stuff it with as many goodies as I could. And I would pickpocket, or not pickpocket, hand pick a few different celebrities' autographs. Yeah, I'm not pickpocketing autographs. And then, yeah, so back then autographs were only 20 bucks a pop when I first started collecting them, so they were pretty cheap. It was almost like stealing them. And that was back when you could get like a photo with them at the same time. So it was fucking really good deal. So for a while, that's what I used to do at the conventions. And then eventually I started to realize that all the different movie promotional material that I was stuffing in these bags was just going into storage. I wasn't actually using any of it, or very rarely. Sometimes I would give it away as gifts, but even that was starting to get rare. Deal. So then I decided to steer away from that, and I was like, hey, what else am I going to do at the convention? And that's when I realized the question and answer seminars. I don't know, at each different type of Star Trek or video game convention you go to, there's usually a show floor, then there's some autograph areas, then they have the question and answer panel areas. It's like a big stage where people can go up and everyone listens to someone talk. So that's when I started getting into the question and answer panels, like going to see celebrities, hearing them talk and do speeches. I was like, holy shit, that was one of my new favorite parts of conventions. Get to hear all the voice actors from like Dragon Ball. That was sweet. No, some of the voice actors from Dragon Ball were able to do, say, Majin Buu's voice, but then do all Goku's lines. So it was like they could do opposite stuff that you never really hear on the show. It's pretty wild. I know some people don't like the English dubbed anime, but I don't really care one way or the other, to be honest. Subtitles isn't really that bad for Dragon Ball, because most of the time it's just fights anyways. And usually the subtitle one is uncensored. That's kind of nice. I don't like censorship. Now, as far as buying things on the show floor, I never really got into that because in most cases I already knew about eBay. So what I would usually do is when I saw stuff that I liked at the show floor, I would just buy it from eBay later for a better price. Which I kind of felt bad because a lot of people do a lot of work to get a booth and set it up, and they have to charge a little bit more to cover that booth, and they hope that people still buy from them. Because those booths are expensive. Actually, that's one of the things I evolved into eventually too. Now, the next part of conventions that I started to like was the after parties and hotels. I don't know, when I was younger, like in my teenage years going to conventions, I was always paranoid to go out to the bars alone in Toronto. Because I'm like, shit, I'm a kid, like a teenager. What happens if adults beat me up or something, right? So I was always paranoid, especially because I didn't know any other people much in Toronto. But then as I started to get into my mid 20s and stuff, then I was like, hey, now I'm the adult, and I don't really give a shit about these kids at fucking bars and stuff. Not really scared of them anymore. So that's when I started getting into going to the after parties. Man, Sean Hatton from Electric Playground, he fucking threw some of the best after parties I've ever been to. Actually, the first after party I went to was just random one that I found at just a bar when I was following people and I was lost and drunk downtown. I just started following people that were from the convention because I was like, hey, I'm really drunk. I should just follow these convention people and hopefully they're staying at the same hotel as me. So, so I just walked and followed them. Not only were they not staying at the same hotel as me, they were going to a bar. So that's one of the things I really miss about conventions. Man, the after parties, holy shit, they were sick. Which was weird too, because I found a lot of cases you would go to these conventions year after year after year, and you would get autographs and say hi to the same celebrities year after year after year. And then when it came time to go to the bars and after parties, you get there and all the celebrities you got autographs were at the bar. They would like wave and say hi to you and know your name. I was like, what the fuck? This is pretty wild, these conventions. I've never thought that experience would be possible, right? Like, walk into a bar, all your favorite TV show hosts are there, and they wave and say hi. It's like, what the fuck? That was pretty special about conventions. I'm gonna miss that. Not that celebrities are the all too thing in life and stuff. That was just like a really wild experience. Yeah, and then eventually I started to like the convention so much I decided to try running a booth. Because how that worked out is, when you get a booth, it comes in different phase of prices. You can get a booth in like the artist alley, which is the entry level booth. It's the beginner prices, and it's usually way off in the corner of the convention, not really in the main area. And then you can get different size artist alley booths, so you can buy like the entry level one, just one little tiny table. But you can move up to like bigger tables, like 2, 3 person tables, corner tables, and the prices vary. And then once you really want to go high up, then you're like, oh, I'm a pro, like I'm on a professional store. So that's when you go to like the store level booths, like the guys that run comic book aisles or whatever. And they have these giant booths. They're just loaded with merchandise and like 3 or 4 employees all helping them sell it. So that's like really expensive booth then. You're looking at like thousands of dollars. So what I did is I was like, I was never going to even consider getting any of these booths. But then I started doing writing like artist work, and I'm like, hey, some authors are going there promoting their books. I should at least check to see what the price is and compare it. Because what happened is the convention in Toronto that I go to, when I was a teenager, it was only like a few thousand people. I think maybe even 10,000, 20,000, which sounds a lot for small conventions, but for a Toronto convention, that's tiny, right? So anyways, year after year, it kept doubling and doubling, doubling. You know that doubling effect. Once it reaches like 50,000, then 100,000, then like 200,000, it was getting to the point where it's fucking ridiculous, right? So that's when like every year the ticket sales, they realize that, hey, no matter how much we increase the price, double the people are coming next year. So what they ended up doing is not only did they expand the price to go to the convention, like it went from $20 a day to $40 a day to $80 a day. I don't know, I can't remember if it made it up to $160 a day. And then they also increased how many days. So instead of just a 2 day convention, they bumped it up to like a 4 day, I think. So this reached the point now where I started to have to get hotels. That's how I ended up starting to go into after parties. And the whole hotel experience, it really is half the convention. Because man, like you never realize, like if you're not into hotels, you don't go very often. Once you start getting your own hotels in big cities, it's a pretty big rush just doing that. It's very exciting. It almost feels like you're some sort of like living in an apartment in a hotel in a new city, and you have a new life there, but it's only like a week long. So it's like you get to experience what it's like living in a big city just for a week. You get to know all the stores, all the shopping centers. So really, each year I was staying in Toronto for, it got to like 4 nights once a year. And then 20 years of doing that, it's almost like I've lived downtown Toronto like a good month or two of my life. Feels pretty nice. I miss the big cities. As much as I make fun of the big cities, how they're overcrowded and too expensive and housing expenses are ridiculous, transit's overcrowded, but no, a lot of it I do like just temporarily. It's one of those things, it's like you don't want to do it all the time, but when you get a chance to, it's fun for temporarily. It's like having a hot girlfriend. Have some fun and then just ditch her. No, I'm just kidding. Hope no one heard that. Yeah, and the other parts of the conventions is why I started buying the Artist Alley booth. Is all of a sudden what they did is they made the price of the Artist Alley booth cheaper than buying a ticket to get in. Like, I don't know how many people noticed that, but I was like, hey man, if it's cheaper to get a ticket to just get a booth at the convention than it is to actually pay and buy tickets to go, why the hell don't I just get a booth at Artist Alley and try it out? See if I like it or not, right? See what it's like being behind the scenes at a convention. Being able to go in as staff, not having to wait in lines. Being able to go in early and sit at your table, take breaks whenever you want. No, what I did is I kind of cheated. The first year I just got my friend Jake who does chiptune music, actually the intros for the show. I'm like, hey man, you want to come and just share some of your chiptune stuff with the audience there? I felt bad because we were there for the whole 4 days playing like the same type of music over and over again. I can imagine the people next to us by the end of the second day, they must have wanted to kill us. But yeah, then we got to enjoy all the benefits of the convention, got in cheaper, and had our own tables to relax and talk to people. So that was fun. Then I moved up to like getting my cousin to go to show off her art because I kind of felt bad. I'm like, man, I shouldn't just have music every year. I should team up with other artists too because it is an artist alley. Try to pay everyone back for making them listen to chiptunes for 4 days straight. Now, I did like the chiptunes for the most part, but even by the last day, I was starting to get sick of it too. It's like you can only listen to the same music for so long, right? Especially non-stop for a whole day. Yeah, so it was pretty wild getting to run the conventions and strange how fun it is talking and interacting with so many fans. I can see why artists become artists and start sharing their stuff. It's addictive being able to share your material and having people like it. That's why they always say addictions are bad in life, but they should really teach those addictions in school. Like, here, learn how to do something impressive. See how addictive it is showing it off. Try to get people addicted to more constructive behavior. Yeah, so there's so many things I miss about the convention. And it's weird. I would have missed the convention for the first time because of the lockdown, but I had the whole concussion thing. So I had to take breaks from the concussion or from the convention for that too. Just couldn't handle crowds. So it's like I can't do conventions if you can't handle a crowd. Sounds used to bug me for a long time. Moving objects would bug me for a long time. But at least all that's had time to heal. So, I think it'll be 2 or maybe 3 years that I missed the convention after going 20 years in a row. It's pretty wild. So I'm like getting hyped for the next convention like you wouldn't believe. After like reaching the apex. Oh yeah, I never told you guys the apex of my convention experience. It went sour. Whoops, I forgot to change my lineup. Now I got greedy like every year when I was getting the boosts. Hey, Thicklinit. How's it going, man? Welcome back to the show. Good to see you back. We were just saying yesterday we missed you. I think you came in for a second, but not too much chat. Don't worry if people give you a hard time about chatting too much. I don't mind. You can spam 100 messages in a row. Yeah, congratulations. Made it in fourth. Now we're just discussing what I liked about conventions, video game conventions to... Yeah, that's some of the other things I should clarify. Some of the things I loved about video game conventions when I was there was just like a giant arcade where everyone who plays video games comes, and usually they have competitions, so you can play the best in the world. No, on this, they would set up booths like from Sony, Nintendo, Xbox, and each of those companies would have their best games that weren't even out yet, and you could go up and play them. So when you got home, you could show off to all your friends and be like, "Hey, I was playing like Battlefield 7 before it even came out, right?" They'd be like, "What? You played it already?" That was pretty sweet part about gaming conventions. Oh yeah, and then one time too, I went to this gaming convention, and there was a whole bunch of guys that were playing this first-person shooter game, and they had it set up in rows, where everyone on one side of the LAN party had like 5 computers, or I think it was 5 PlayStation 4s. Well, I think no, it would have been back PlayStation 3 day. But anyways, they had 5 on one side and 5 on the other, so you could do 2 teams. So what they were doing is saying, "Hey, you get 5 of your friends stand on one side, and we'll get 5 of our friends stand on the other, and we'll have a battle and see who can win." So I was watching and watching it for a while, and there was this one team of 5 guys, and they were just slaughtering everyone. They'd be like, "Oh, bring the next 5." They'd go up, get their asses kicked. They'd be like, "Oh, bring the next 5." They'd go up and get their asses kicked. So everyone's like laughing, they're mocking them. Like, "Doesn't anyone want to give us a try?" Everyone stopped trying to play them. So I'm like, "Hey, I'll give you guys a try." And they're like, "Oh, there's no one else in your team." I'm like, "I don't need the rest of the team." So they got all cocky that they could kill me. And they had this one room fortified, like everyone by the doors with like C4 and sniper rifles ready to get me. So what did I do? I run in with the shotgun, just meleeed them all, killed the whole team. I was like, yeah. It was so funny too, because I think I meleeed the first 4 in like 3 seconds. It was just like, psh, psh, psh. One hit each. The last guy, he got away for a few seconds, but I got him. I think he strafed to the side, then I got him. No, it's those LAN party moments, you can tell it even makes me emotional. It's like I love playing against other people for real. Even online play just doesn't do that same feeling. I don't know what it is. It's like going to the arcade and like beating the gang. It's like getting all their bullies to stand around the machine and taunt people that are playing. The good old days. Now, I wonder if I still have footage from it in my archive. I'll try to find it. But one of the nicest parts about the gaming convention is one year they set up a rock band stage. So they had the guitar accessory, the drums or whatever bands that you instruments that you could play. So what they did is like you could wait in line and you'd have like 5 of your friends, and then you could go on the stage and play in front of like a crowd of like 10,000 people. Yeah, that was so fun. Like some people were good, some sucked. But even the players that sucked, like just going up there and trying, everyone would cheer you on. Oh yeah, the other weird thing about conventions I noticed too. Sometimes you'd have like old celebrities that were there. They're like reaching the ends of their career, trying to get some autographs, like raise some funds for charities just before they go off into sail off into the sunset sort of thing. But in other rare cases, you'll have a TV show that hasn't even premiered on TV yet. So you'll be like a brand new TV show, and they'll have like 5 celebrities there that are all the main cast. And then you're like, should I go meet these people and get their autographs? Like, you don't even know who they are yet, right? So the one year I never did it, and then I regretted it because I could have met the whole cast of X-Men. I think it was like the X-Men TV show, not the movies, obviously, because there's different ones. But so it's like the X-Men TV show became relatively popular, and I was like, shit, I should have got all their autographs when I had the chance. So that was one of those things at conventions I'll miss. The opportunity to see the next upcoming TV show before anyone else does. Yeah, I couldn't believe Pat and Ian when they were talking about what they missed about the convention. I think they were saying, well, it was their friends they missed the most. I'd probably say that, but I don't have any friends. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do have a few friends, but usually I wouldn't see any at the convention unless I brought them there. Sadly. Unless you count the celebrities, but really they were just saying hi to me, and well, some of them were giving me prizes even. That was really nice. Like Sean Hatton is one of the coolest guys I've ever met. Not only was he like in my favorite TV show, my favorite host, but he also started a band, happened to be my favorite band, and he's the favorite band member. I meet him at the bar and he's like giving me prizes. He's like, hey, here's a free shirt, here's a free PS4 game. I'm like, fucking sick. Yeah, he even came up and said hi to me, and I was always so nervous when I talked to him. I would stutter all my words, and he would just go, what? What? And I'd be like, sorry, man, I can't even talk. He'd be like, what? I was like, man, one day I wanted to ask him to do an interview, and I was like, no, that would never go well. He would just say what over and over. That'd be so embarrassing. Yeah, thanks for the 5 likes, everybody. Appreciate it. No, I guess I should get on to where the apex of the convention ended badly. Every year I kept like expanding. Like the first year I got the smallest booth at Artist Alley, just for me and that buddy. Then next year I expanded a little bigger, got the medium sized booth. And each time I was increasing the price, it wasn't too bad. It was like maybe a couple $100, then like double the price, around 500. But my cousin was like getting really good at her art, and some of her friends she wanted to invite it were like some of the top artists in the country. So I'm like, fuck, man, I should invest more and get the better booth in the professional area. And up to that point, everything was still going okay, except the price. The price was a lot more. I think I was looking at like 2 grand in order to get the bigger booth. So I'm like, to go from 200 was still pretty high. 500 was already pushing it as ridiculous. And then now 2,000 was like, holy shit, man. Now I'm looking at like 20% of my income for the year. It's like, this is not good. It's costing a lot. So it actually might not have gone so bad up until that point, but I made another mistake on top of that. So it's good that I can kind of laugh about it now. We may never even be able to go back to conventions, so it's not really the end of the world that I fucked it up completely. But no, what happened was is the convention messaged me and asked me for help. I was like, fuck, I should have realized right in the back of my head. No good deed goes unpunished, right? Like, I should have said, no, sorry, I can't help. Maybe you should try asking someone else. But I tried biting off more than I could chew. And I said, yeah, I can help with you, right? So I'm like, what do you need? I'll do whatever I can to help. So what they messaged me back and they said, oh, there's been a problem with the show floor layout. And the spot that we gave you is a really good one. Hence, I should have right in the back of my mind. And they're like, can we move you to a different spot because we've had a complaint and someone else wants another spot really badly. So right then and too, I should have been thinking, "Ooh, shit, someone's complaining. I do not want to take this fucking problem on because it's probably going to be more than I can chew, right?" So I was like, okay, I'll do it. we'll switch, right? I'll take the spot where they couldn't take it and they're complaining. So here I'm getting this $2,000 place, and now they've switched it from a really good spot to a not so good spot. And not to blame the spot, but man, oh man, did it go downhill from there. No, we started sitting at the spot, and at first it was pretty good. Fucking giant booth, lots and lots of room. But then I started to realize the reason we had lots of room is we were right by the exit. So anyone who was coming into the show floor, by the time they got to our booth, they were just running for the exit, right? So in a way, you don't want to be right next to the exit, especially in a show floor that's going to reach capacity and it's going to be mosh pits of people. By the time they want to get out, they just want to get out, right? But anyways, the other reason we found out that we got switched to a different spot is we tried to reserve a spot in the horror theme area because my cousin and all her guests are into like like horror, screaming, blood and guts, that kind of stuff. So they wanted to be in with the other horror group. And that's when they moved us. They moved us from the good area with all the other horror people that are really famous next to the artist signing spots. And they moved us to next to a paintball booth where there's this guy, no, I think there was 3 or 4 guys from England, and they were just yelling in British accents, "Come buy our paintballs." And they would just yell that at the top of their lungs for 4 days nonstop. Every time someone heard them yelling to come buy our paintballs, they would just run the other way. So it was like we almost had no one come to our booth the whole time. We were in a fucking show packed to capacity. Hey, Nutroll. So all the guests that were there, that wasn't even the worst part that was pissing them off. Guess what happened to my guests? They happened to set up a food court right on the other side of the exit, and they had people indoors cooking with propane. So right away you're thinking, geez, indoors propane, that's not good, right? And what do you know? All the gas fumes came over to where my guests were and made everyone sick. So it's like everyone that paid to go splits on this giant $2,000 booth that no one was coming to also got gassed out by fucking propane fumes. So it's like, holy fuck, what a fucking nightmare convention that was. That did not go well. But it just goes to show you, like, in life, you can't, like, get too upset. Like, hopefully one day we'll have conventions again and I'll be able to try to rebound something from that experience. And it will be one hell of a rebound, because if conventions ever come back, it's almost going to be nothing short of a miracle, right? So we'll see. It is kind of sad that the last convention I did had the biggest epic failure of them all, but oh well. If you're going to go out, might as well go in a blaze of glory. So yeah, I miss that about conventions. Epic failures. No, the one epic failure about that convention too is, you know the guy, you guys might not have heard of him, Jade and Silent Bob. It's a team of stoners from when I was a teenager. They were popular. Well, Jay, the most popular one, came by and stopped at our booth. I didn't even realize it was him until he took like 3 steps away. I was like, oh fuck man, I should have called him over and said hi. Can't believe that. He was checking out the booth because the convention hadn't opened yet. So he was only one of the only celebrities in the place. And the celebrities were going around checking out the booths. So he came and checked ours out. I was like really tired at that point because I had a bit of a nightmare at the hotel I was staying at. You guys want to hear the hotel nightmare from this convention story? No, I happened to get a hotel that was reasonably nice, but really cheap. So I was like, what's the deal with this hotel? Why is it so cheap, right? And then I should have kind of realized when I was going to sign into the hotel that it was right next to a strip club. I was like, oh fuck, right? Like a hotel next to a strip club. Gee, I wonder what's going on in this hotel, right? Yeah, so I got my room, and it just so happened that all the rooms around you just have like prostitutes banging people the whole night. So it's like all the walls, the floors, everything's just bang, 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 over and over. So that wasn't really the greatest entertaining place to sleep for a week. But man, some of the stamina of those girls, it amazes me. Yeah, can go all night, no problem. Now I was thinking in hindsight, a lot of these trips would have made amazing vlogging videos. So that's why I was like, shit, man, I really wish I would have got my vlogging career figured out then. And I was trying to. I just didn't realize I had to vlog. So stupid. Well, I guess a lot of people are filming back then never realized that vlogging was the way to do it. Normally I would just point the camera at other people. Never realized I had to include myself in the footage to have it work well. Who would have guessed? Yeah, over the years, I must have stayed in Toronto so many times, and each hotel had its own unique story that was pretty wild. So I was thinking, geez, if I would have been vlogging those years, so it just gives me an idea, like, when I look at what people travel vlog on YouTube, compare it to some of the adventures I've had just traveling in Toronto, I think, Jesus, there's something to that. It's usually not boring traveling in Toronto. Especially if you stay in really cheap places. There's always a catch to why it's cheap. I'll never forget the cheapest place I got in Toronto. It was $20 a night. And you get your own room. I was like, oh my god, like, how is this? Hey, Suki, how's it going? Yeah, you made it first for the first person to talk in a long time. I think I silenced everyone with my convention stories today. No, my favorite podcasters, Ian and Pat, they talked about what they miss most about conventions. So I've been kind of ranting about that. Some of the stories are pretty graphic, so I'm glad you just got here. Phew. Oh, wait, there's recordings. Now let's rob them. I don't know. If you've ever been to a Chinatown before, Toronto's got a good one. And the cheapest place I could ever find to stay in Toronto was in that Chinatown. And there was a catch, and I was like, oh god, what is the catch going to be, right? But I had to take a chance on it because I had a new job, and I needed a place to stay because the bus routes weren't running early enough for me to get to work by 6 a.m. So I had to spend the night at the cheapest place I could find. Yeah, so I got to the building. A lot of buildings in Toronto, Chinatown, obviously they're going to be a little bit old and run down. So I wasn't really shocked by that. But when I got to the front porch of the building, the person that was sitting on the front porch, I thought was a homeless person. So I was like, I came up to him and I walked up to the porch and I was like gonna knock on the door. And he's like, oh, you don't need to knock. He's like, I'm working here. I'm like, what? You're working here? I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So he's like, yeah. He's like, let me take you in and show you the room. Do you have a reservation? So I'm like, yeah, I got a reservation. Shows me to the room. And he's like, here's your washroom. The washroom is shared, but you get your own room. And it's only like 6 feet by 6 feet. There's a TV, tiny bed, and a closet. And a window, but no air conditioning. So that's why $20 a night, you're thinking heat wave downtown Toronto. Thank God there's a window. So I get the room, and he's like, this is the last room we have. Enjoy. There's nothing else you could get for cheaper. So I go into the room and it's sweltering hot. So I crack open the window. Guess what's in the outside of the window? The fucking grease trap to a Chinese food restaurant. Sweltering in a fucking heat wave. Oh man. So God, man, like it was like a challenge. Do I want to die from the heat wave in the room by closing the window? Or do I want to open the window and allow the stench from the grease trap in? But $20 a night in Toronto, like you can't beat that. Oh yeah, and the other thing the guy told me when he was checking in, he's like, if you hear gunshots at night, whatever you do, don't call the police. I was like, don't call the police? Or do you mean call the police? He's like, no, don't. I'm like, what the fuck? And then he's like, it's because they're filming movies. And I'm like, they're filming movies? Yeah, like the Hollywood stuff, Toronto. They come to the risky parts of Chinatown to film because it looks really cool. I'm like, okay, so don't call the police for gunshots. Got it. Oh, it was so gross, too. When I was like checking the room to see how dirty it was, I looked under and there was underwear. I was like, oh no. It's like right then and there, I'm like, I am not sleeping on that bed under the blankets. I'm just like laying a towel over top of it and then burning that towel. Oh, some of the places you gotta stay to get by in life, right? But God, that would have made one hell of a vlog. I bet you the guy wouldn't even have let me film. He probably would have said no. Maybe. Nah, let's just rob him. I have to admit though, even though that was a scuzzy part of Chinatown, everyone I spoke to was super nice. So I was like, I never really met any mean gang members or anything. Most of the gang members that I saw just stayed away, so there was no problems. I just didn't try to hang out with them. They didn't try to hang out with me. It was all good. Well, actually, one gang came up to me and asked me for some of my beer because I was carrying a case. But then I showed them that it was just juice, and they said they didn't want any. So I was like, okay, phew. I actually offered him some. I'm like, oh, do you want a few cans? And he's like, what is it? And I'm like, juice. And he's like, oh, fuck, get that away from me. I only drink alcohol. It's like, phew. Guess I won't go to the beer store and walk through this part of the neighborhood. Oh, it was terrible too. This one hostel I was staying at. It's like, have you ever stayed at a hostel where almost all students stay or travelers, really young people? So I stayed at a hostel in Toronto, and it was really fun. I was like, holy shit, this place is packed with hot chicks that are all in like their early 20s, maybe 30s tops. So a lot of young hot chicks. And then fucking, I get to the counter and I'm going to sign in, and the guy who's signing everyone in, he's like one of those Playboy guys that smells like cologne. He's got like the fancy haircut and all the super nice clothes. He's like all well built, muscular, and young. I was like, holy shit, man, this guy must be getting all the girls. And then he comes over to say hi to me and smiles, and his whole face was just all cold sores. I was like, oh god. Ladies, be careful in Toronto. That guy's a chick magnet, and he's been having maybe too much fun. Not to call him out for it or anything. Maybe he's only had one girlfriend his whole life, and that's just what happened. Oh, Suki, don't do that. I should actually tell you to get it. I notice most chicks that do things like that actually like reverse psychology, or it works better. Now, a friend of mine, well, not a friend, actually, a guy that I like to watch his YouTube channel, he has, what is it, the swastika symbol on his hand because it's part of his Tibetan religion or whatever. And they blocked him off YouTube for it. And he's trying to explain it's like it's not even the German one, it's the Tibetan one or something. Still, he's not allowed. And my friend Kevin Najawan, he used to share a lot of material on Facebook. And then when he started sharing the religious traditions of the Ojibwe to do with the swastika, then all of a sudden he got banned. So he got his account permanently shut down on Facebook. So you gotta be careful. I don't know what it is about that swastika, but it really pisses people off. Maybe that's why you like it so much. Now there's a town in my province of Ontario called Swastika. Or yeah, there's a town called Swastika, and then there's a city that also has a street called Swastika. And some people moved to the street and started complaining, say that they wanted the town to change the name, or else they would like sue or something. But then the town said that they can't because they already knew that they were moving to that street. It's like if they didn't know they were moving to the street and then found out, well, then it'd be like a trick someone played on them. But they knew it the whole time, so you can't move to somewhere and then complain about it. It doesn't work like that. But anyway, so yeah, the the fight to change the name of the street managed to withhold or made it through to the end because yeah, that's what happened is they allowed the street name to stay. And same thing that happened with the city that's called Swastika in Ontario. Some people started fighting it, saying they wanted the town to change the name, especially because it's on the train route. So it's like one of the spots that all the tourists would stop at. They'd be like, oh shit, man, this place is called Swastika. But no, what happened with the place up north called Swastika, it was the German gold company that was there before the war. So it was actually before the Nazis and everything. So it's weird how the Germans already had companies called Swastika before the Nazis even took power. So their defense was like, hey, this is our German heritage before the war, not actual Nazi swastikas. So they were actually allowed to keep the name of the town too. And that's right where close to where I live. Not that I wanted to live next to a swastika town. I swear I just wanted Suki to visit. That was the only reason. No, I bought it before I ever met Suki, so there's no conversation there. Or no coincidence there. No, but if you ever wanted to go to the town Swastika, I can get you next to... You can stand next to a sign saying that you're in the town. Then everyone will hate you forever. Unless you're Tibetan. Maybe then I'll allow you to slide. Nah, usually if you get that tattoo and you ended up in jail, you'd probably get raped every day too, right? So it's probably not the greatest. Unless you're into orgies, well then maybe. I'm sure orgies in women's prison are probably way better. Less of a pain in the butt. Oh, sorry for the pun. I don't know if you're Japanese too. If you're Japanese, that probably might not go over so well either, eh? Now, what was it? Did China also join Germany? Or was it just Japan? I don't even really follow the World War very well. I read tons of books about it, but it was like when I was a kid, so I don't really remember much now. Even if it was recently, I probably wouldn't either. Now, for me, I'm one of those Bible hardcore traditionalists for the Old Testament, and it talks about as God sort of being a chef, and he went to a lot of work to create everyone as like a really fancy recipe. So he doesn't really like people when they like take ketchup and just dump it in. So I don't know. No, I think there's probably more reasons than that for why the Bible says not to get tattoos. That's why I always find it funny when people get Bible verses tattooed to them, because it's in the Bible to not get tattoos. It'd be like an alcoholic who managed to make it through his AA rehab, celebrating it with a drink. It's like, I'm gonna have a beer to celebrate all this rehab. Now, who knows? You know, are people that research the ancient history of the Aryans, and they say they're not even related to the Germans. So I don't even know how true that is. Maybe that is the case. So who knows? Maybe if that's proven, one day we'll be allowed to research the history of the Aryans. Now, there is a few people that take the chances of doing it on Facebook, and they do get their stuff like flagged a lot, which I'm surprised all these years later. It's not like there's any Germans that are rising anymore. If anything, they have Merkel, and they're like one of the most sissified countries in the world. They got their balls cut off decades ago. No, not to say that Merkel did everything bad. I guess I should stop bitching about her so much. The whole victimhood. She tried the best she could. Who knows? Maybe things could have went a lot worse. We don't even know it. Life is so uncertain, you can't beat people up over what happened. It's like you could be really mad at someone for like pushing you one day, but then you don't realize that one day that you got pushed there, you were actually going towards a car and you would have got run over. So it's like you're mad at them that they pushed you, but in hindsight, you didn't even notice that you were avoiding getting hit by a car in the process. So we try not to look at everything in life as a disaster, even though the worst disasters could be just narrowly avoiding an even worse disaster. I think that was one of the sayings Goku taught me. I think Goku is making a lot of mistakes. Ah, better late than never. Warzard the board time lore. Don't worry, even though the game crashed, we can reboot this shit. And I've got extra time today because the only thing I'm doing after the game is going outside for a walk. There's no sports on today. And everything is completely frozen, so I'm going to have to do a pretty good boot. Alright, this will be a good time that we can quick do the Bet Fury stuff. And big shout out to everyone who's helping out with Bet Fury. And everyone who's not old enough to yet, make sure you wait till you're of gambling age. And try not to get addicted to gambling. Bet Fury is actually one of the best places for not getting addicted to gambling because it's really hard to win. And if you're not winning, it's almost very easy to quit, right? Because you're like, fuck, I just keep losing. Why the hell am I even playing this? But I collect a lot of shares for the casino while I lose, so that's mainly why I've been still betting. Anyways, let's go check it out. Yeah, I figured it was going to do this today. Nah, it's been fucking up and giving me the opposite screens. Sorry, just one sec, I'll be able to fix this. What happens is, my new monitor, sometimes it fucks up and changes it from display 2 to 3. So I don't know why it does that, but when it happens, I have to rechange it back in OBS. But oh well, it's not that hard to fix. There we go, got it. Alright, we'll do the free Satoshi thing collection. You guys can laugh if I get the pictures wrong. See if we can pick boats here. Boat. Sometimes the planes that are in water catch me, because I'm like looking at the water and don't even realize I called it a boat. Or is it a boat plane? Does it count as both? Yes, got it. Now, I was letting the Plinko game roll on 2 for a while today, but it was pretty hit and miss, or a lot of misses. So I only let it roll enough that I spent about 400 of my Satoshi and got an extra 2 tokens. So that wasn't too bad of a ratio even for losing a lot. So make sure everyone try the Plinko game if you're having bad luck. Let's check out the staking payout today. Today's staking payout is 51 Satoshi. So you got an idea of what you're looking at if you get 150 tokens. Now you're collecting this much every day for just logging in. Look how much of this TRX I collect. That's quite a bit. TRX is one of those currencies. Right now it's worthless, but if it goes up, we'll be rich. Well, maybe not rich, but we'll get more. Alright, so my cash back, it's been pretty slow. I did quite a bit of betting, got 27, but you can see if I got my VIP level up to the next level, then I would get 4%, so I'd be getting close to 60 back right now. Alright, let's check out the referrals, give a shout out to everyone who's been helping. Got a little bit of referral cash. Oh, 0.1 of tokens. Appreciate that, everyone. That's sweet. Alright, Suki wagered a little bit more, she's up to 15. Mr. Plexo, he's at 3,000. Cinder, holy shit, she almost made the 100,000 mark. When she reaches 100,000, she'll be 1% complete for making it to the next VIP level. You can see VIP levels are fucking hard to get in this, but if you're consistent, you can pull it off. I'm already at 4% and I still haven't deposited. So anyway, Zeros, he made up to 13. Elementus is at 800. A few other people are on this list, but level list part 2 is not unlocked yet. So hopefully I get that finished soon. Alright, let's get back to the game. Sorry, the game loaded right away, but I just wanted to finish since I had it open. Finishing quick is supposed to be my specialty, but that's a lot to cover. Alright, let's, come on. Fat chili on a diet. Don't try it. Check your ass like a Ludo in a riot. Fuck. No, it's so hard to get any luck in this. Maybe one day. Probably gonna have to wait for the casino event to come back around. No, the new computer has not arrived yet. Which, it's getting a little bit concerning, seeing that it's only being shipped from Ottawa, which is a city about 5 hours from where I live. But they did tell me that it wouldn't arrive till about the 20th. So, seems concerning, but maybe it's still just a backlog with the lockdowns. My city did go into hardcore lockdowns. So that could be it. And I bought it through PayPal, so if there's any problem that didn't arrive, at least I got some backup plans. No, right away, holy shit, 50 tokens. That means we got some Hunger Game action. Usually that's what that means. Oh yeah. I'm loving how the Hunger Games is so much more consistent. Remember how it was like months and months and never came? Like my last girlfriend. No, I'm just kidding. That was horrible, I'm sorry. God, I hope she never watches the show. I'm gonna get some comments. She's like, won't believe how honest he is. Oh man. Alright, so Gizmo's here. We should bet on Gizmo. Think? Gizmo? Yeah, let's bet on Gizmo. Unless it's another Gizmo imposter. Let's check. Yeah, a lot of people bet on Gizmo, so let's hope for the best. Fuck, my token's ever low. Can tell I've been losing like crazy. I was up to 4,000 at one point, bet it and lost it all. Fuck. Yeah, too bad, no Lelanders today. I was hoping for that. Alright, so we got a little bit more scrolls. That's good. I really want to get this one. I was hoping I'd have enough. It looks like we will. So we're on track, guys. And ladies. Probably should do an infinite ring challenge. Or maybe I'll just save up. 5 tokens is pretty worthless. Yeah, I actually have 2 rows of these battles that we can do. So let's check out a little bit of them. I'll get the sponsor message before we begin, and I'll have to change this team. Hopefully I remember to do that. Alright, let's check out the sponsor. Today's team change is brought to you by Crack. Crack. It'll fuck you up. Woo! Alright, welcome back everyone. No, I am really looking forward to that new computer arriving because, man, I had such big breakthroughs in my gravity well research today. If I think I had to rate the breakthrough, it's within the top 5 ever. Now, I made that gravity well map, and I was thinking, a few researchers told me that they took similar maps and applied it to the moon and other planets and got good results. So they said that I should take mine and map it to the moon and Mars. I was like, sorry guys, I'm just using Google Earth. I didn't even notice there was a button for other planets. Like, I noticed on the map version of Google Earth, like on the one that you can just do in Google, but on the download version, I thought it was like just Earth. But no, it turns out you can look at Mars and the moon. Alright, which hero do I want to bring? Yeah, let's go Jade Austen. And we'll keep it on fire, and we'll keep him in the front. Yeah, let's try that. No, so I was worried that, hey, now I can switch to the other planets, but then I'm going to have to fucking draw the whole field map again. And I didn't even realize that the gravity well field map I made is actually an algorithm. So when you take this algorithm and you program it, and then you set it to other planets like Moon or Mars or something, guess what happens? It sets up the field automatically. So I didn't have to reprogram it for each planet and moon. Because I was thinking, dear God, I don't know where the poles and all the solstice points are on these other planets. How am I going to measure the solstice points on Mars? But thank God, my algorithm worked. So when I booted up Mars and in fucking the moon, it matched. I was like, thank God. Which I was wondering if it was going to be able to do it because everything was different scale, right? Like the Mars and moon, they're different sizes. But it's a mathematical pattern that just divides everything in half. So it really doesn't matter what your original size is. Not really in half, but in half over and over again many times. No, yesterday or earlier today I was trying to beat this and I made it to the gold chest, but did not get my hands on the chest. Something I'm very familiar with. Especially during the lockdown. Sure. Yeah, maybe I will miss the food at conventions too. It actually wasn't a convention, but the last time I went to Toronto for medical appointments for my concussion, I tried an authentic Chinese food place, or more authentic, and man, it was good. Even the food I didn't normally like to order and that they gave me by accident. Like normally I don't eat seafood, and they gave me a little bit of lobster by accident, or not lobster. What are those mini lobsters? Lobster rings? I don't know, whatever they're called. And yeah, they actually tasted decent, even though I don't like seafood. Which I'm gonna have to learn to like seafood. Salmon gives me so much energy. Should be what I'm eating every day. Yeah, the convention stank. See, that's one of the things I'm fortunate with. I do a lot of vaporizing or smoking, so my sense of smell is usually not the greatest. Like even those gas fumes when we got fumed out, like I could barely smell them. It was more other people that were like, "Hey man, we're breathing in gas fumes here." Now I even complained to the convention organizers about everything that happened throughout the convention, and I think they responded and they didn't even say sorry. And I was like, well, I was kind of hoping for maybe like a 50% discount on next year's booth, but man, I guess they're such a big convention, they trample over a lot of people and don't really notice. But I'm pretty sure if I would have talked to the right people, I probably could have got something done. Just didn't put enough effort and complain to the wrong people. Yeah, you know what? The convention stink was like, especially at the one in Toronto, was bad for the first few years, or even worse, I should say. Is they had a 2 day convention, so a lot of people that were kids, like say like teenagers, couldn't afford hotels. They didn't even have the credit cards to reserve a hotel if they wanted to. But anyways, when they would get there, they couldn't afford the hotel, so they would just stay up all night in Toronto, pull an all-nighter for one night, right? When you're a teenager, pulling an all-nighter for one night isn't the end of the world. But the catch is then a lot of people are wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row during a heat wave. Then it would get really raunchy. But I'm one to talk. If I quit vaporizing weed for the first month or two, man, I could top anyone at the convention. Unless I get that 48-hour deodorant and just lace it on like twice a day. Then I can manage. Yeah, some of the wild hotel stories, jeez. The one hotel I used to stay at would have all night, like 24-hour, karaoke for anime. So people would try to sing anime songs. Man, that was pretty wild. I would just get like so stoned and then go watch the anime singers. It was funny. Most people would just butcher it, but then every once in a while there'd be like a smoking hot chick who could go up there and like sing the whole thing and be like, "What the fuck?" It was pretty mind blowing. And sometimes they'd have all you can night all night anime shows. So there's like the basement lobby of a hotel. They'd have like a movie theater screen or a projector set up, and then you could just watch anime all night until the convention started again. What a lot of people started doing was just pretending like they were watching the anime, put on glasses, and just like go to sleep in their chair. But then the hotel people get mad because they're like, "Hey, you gotta buy drinks. You can't just sit in our hotel, watch movies, and not buy drinks." And then the one year they had a convention after party, which was just a board game night. So everyone got into a big room and played board games together. That was kind of neat. I met a whole bunch of really cool girls that way. Or women, I should say. Well, back then I was a teenager, so I guess they were kind of girls. Young women. Yeah, Warzard the Board Time Lord. Have you been to Toronto? I was thinking you're describing the convention I went to pretty accurately. You know, the convention organizers started to clue in that people were doing the overnight thing and couldn't stay like at a hotel, so they didn't have anywhere to shower and get cleaned up. So on day two, what they gave everyone was a wet sponge kit. So you could like give your whole body like a wet sponge bath. Even though you didn't have a shower or anything, it was like sort of like one of those moist towelettes you get for fast or Chinese food, except like a giant one so you could do your whole body. I was like, that was a really good idea. Oh, so you are talking the same convention. No shit, eh? That's fucking wild. Yeah, so who knows? If you've been to the same convention, if it was the years I went, I've probably seen you before. You've probably seen me if you've seen a giant bald guy that you can see his head for miles. Now, I used to have booths, so you might even have seen me there. My cousin was the one with that art that I showed during the breaks. She actually got popular at the convention. When she stopped going, people were messaging me and like, why didn't she go this year? I should have really told her about that. I forgot. No, because she's one of the best artists there, so when it came to other artists, they really admired her work. Even some of the fans who were just buying her prints, they liked it too. Yeah, there's so many hot cosplayers there. Fuck. To be a young again. Or to be a teenager. Two girls. Too young for me, too good for you. No, I'm just kidding. No, my older brothers used to always say that to me, or stepbrothers. Now, they were 20 and I was 12. So when they would walk around and I would see the girls that they were whistling at. Alright, this is a pretty good battle. Yeah, so what years did you go to the convention? Did you go to the year Buzz Aldrin was there? What was that, 2008? That was a really good one. That was one of the years that some of my friends came to, and it was really good. Alright, so one of my heroes has already died, so I'm going to come back with this different team. Mix this up a bit. Oh, we're at the second last, so this is not going to be easy. Yeah, so what kind of things did you like doing at Fan Expo? Did you go to the cosplay masquerade show? That was a pretty good show. Man, the one year I skipped the cosplay masquerade. I heard the big ambulance incident. God, that made me really sad after I heard the story. No, what happened was is that the convention they do a costume contest. They called it the masquerade, where everyone who likes to do cosplay could go up on stage in front of like I don't know, how big would you say the crowd is? 50,000 people or something? Ridiculous amount of people. Huge stage. Almost like so many people you can't even see the end. That's how big it is, right? But anyway, so people would go up on stage and show off their costumes, and they would usually design some sort of choreographed show with like music, lights, and stuff. So what happened is the one year they had the masquerade show, and they started the routine, and some of the light shows started going, and sadly it triggered epilepsy for one of the people that has what do they call those attacks, epileptic seizures. So they had to stop the convention masquerade show, turn off all the music and lights, and call in an ambulance. So they said what happened was when the person was on the ground having the seizure, they tried to get everyone to stand back. But guess what happened? While the person was having a seizure, someone ran in and stole their wallet. So it's like when they got to the hospital and then they came to and the nurses were like reviving them, they survived the seizure, but then they found out someone had pickpocketed them. The only thing I was hoping is maybe it slipped out of their pocket while they were having the seizure. But they said that it was like in their backpack or something. I can't remember. So I was like, God, that would be such a piss off that someone could rob someone that was having a seizure, right? Let's hope that that's not what really happened. But it just goes to show you, right? Like even at conventions, like you gotta be careful. Jeez. That was the one thing when the convention grew bigger and bigger and bigger. I got to the point where I was like, man, maybe it is getting too big. Like it's gonna get so big, people are gonna get robbed big. No, I was talking or I heard some guests that came from anime shows in Toronto, or not in Toronto, in Japan, and they said Toronto conventions are like a joke. Said when you go to conventions in Japan, they'll have like a convention center that can hold like 5 million people or like 10 million. So they'll have like just jammed with like way more than 100,000. So they're like, yeah, it's like conventions in Toronto are pretty big, but man, if you ever make it to the Japan conventions, that'd be where it's at. But sadly, I don't know if we'll ever see that again in our lifetimes. Let's hope, right? It's going to be a challenge, and if anyone can do it, we can, guys. Shouldn't get too down the dumps over it. I bet you during the Spanish flu, everyone thought they'd never see normal life again either, right? And then it was only a couple years later they did. Yeah, I found out about the whole story at the convention because they posted it online, hoping that someone would return the wallet, right? But I don't think anyone ever did. But if I hear someone did, I'll correct the story. Oh man, I'll never forget the one year I went to that mushroom or that cosplay on magic mushrooms. Someone spiked me. And boy, that was an adventure. All right, we got our hands on the gold chest. Now, there was this one really hot lady that dressed up as Princess Leia and did the Princess Leia slave dance in like some like I don't know burlesque type show. I was like, holy fuck, this is so hot. But on magic mushrooms, it was a little bit weird because I was like hallucinating. I was like, God, I kind of wish I wasn't on mushrooms for this. See, people never do mushrooms. It's like can ruin the best stripper performances. See, it's like you never want to take mushrooms because there could be random strippers you didn't even know, and it'll ruin the whole show. All right, so unless you're into hallucinating, then maybe I don't know what it is with hallucinating hot chicks. It usually doesn't work good because a lot of times I've hallucinated on mushrooms. It makes people look older and have wrinkles. So it's not really the type of hallucination you want to see hot chicks get, right? Unless you want to fantasize what they look like when they're like 70. Then you're all set. I don't know what's with that, eh? Like, why would mushrooms show you what someone looks like older as a hallucination? That's kind of a fucked up hallucination, don't you think? Alright, let's check out the other Bitcoin casino, see what I'm at for that today. Alright, we're at 147,674. Woohoo! 681, so that's where we're at now. Alright, thanks everybody. And everyone who's already contributing to that, you're the best. And anyone who's considering signing up, couldn't hurt. As long as you're not turning yourself into a gambling addict and you're of gambling age. And if you're not, then yeah, it probably will hurt really bad. Yeah, the only cool part of that mushroom trip is when everyone cheered us on the way in. The only shitty part is we almost started a riot that got people trampled in a stampede. So that was kind of shitty, but it was trippy on mushrooms. I don't know if I told that story before, but we did the mushrooms. And we were late getting to the masquerade because we were doing the mushrooms. And when we got to the show, we were like some of the last people to come down the escalator. We're like, oh fuck, they probably started without us. But no, what happened is they stopped the show, didn't let anyone in until the last Star Wars cosplayers came in, and we were standing right next to them on the escalator. So everyone started giving us a standing ovation as we started coming down the escalator. And then instead of getting in the line, we just stayed right with the cosplayers and walked right in. And then someone yelled out, hey, those guys didn't wait in line. And then everyone stampeded the door. I was like, oh fuck, that was like the first time I ever caused a stampede. And I felt bad because there was thousands of people and someone could have really got hurt. But I didn't do it on purpose. I was just like, I didn't even realize. I was like, fuck, we should be going to the back of the line. It just seemed like such the prime opportunity. Everyone's like opening the doors for you, cheering you as you walk in. Like, yeah! I'm like, oh, yeah. And I didn't have the costume on, so that's why the whole plan failed. If we would have had Star Wars costumes on, that would have never happened. Or at least we wouldn't have caused the stampede. I hope the convention organizers are never watching this. They're like, oh, that was the jackass that started the stampede. Hopefully I don't get charged for that. That would really suck. I didn't do it on purpose, I swear. It wasn't just me. There was other people that were there too. At least 4 of them. Not that I'd rat them out. No, the one thing that always freaked me out about the convention was I always thought there was going to be someone who was going to try something there, right? Like, so many crowds of people and with all the dangerous shit that happens in the world, I was always thinking that was what was going to happen at the convention. I would never guess it would have got shut down before anything even happened. So we were very lucky that way. No, the convention center, when we first started going, they used to have lockers where you could take stuff and just store it inside the convention center. But then they wisened up after the whole fucking terrorist stuff, and they're like, hey, we're not going to keep lockers that people can just put random stuff in the convention center. So now you can still use storage lockers if you go to the convention, but I believe they only have them at the bus terminal now. And they do get robbed pretty often, so I wouldn't even put anything in there unless it's just like a change of clothes. They don't really care if it goes missing. Oh, you went before 2008? That's fucking sick, man. Alright. Yeah, so then I would have met you or seen you, definitely. Because back then is when it was smaller, right? Well, 2008, I think it was already pretty big by that point. No, it started off where it was just Star Trek. Then they expanded it to, what was it, Star Trek and anime. Then after they added anime, they switched it to adding everything sci-fi. Or, yeah, some sort of order like that. And then eventually horror got added. But horror got phased out more in the past couple years, I think. I don't know what it was with horror, eh? It was really popular there for a while, and then it sort of phased out. Which I'm cool with, because I can't stand the sight of blood. It's like, even when I watch UFC, I don't like to see cuts. I'd much rather the fighters just win by knockout. Or submission is actually the way I like it. Or decision. That's pretty good. Stoppage by cuts. Ugh. It's nasty. Holy shit, we're up to 8 likes. Thanks, everybody. Probably have to wrap this up soon because my uncle's going to need to get carried, but appreciate everyone helping cheer me up today. I know I kind of broke down a little bit during the show there, but overall I think I managed to keep it together. I appreciate it. Everyone's support. No, it's going to be shitty once you lose like a good chunk of your family and you start to realize like, hey, now I'm the older generation now. We're getting there. Isn't that funny how it goes when you're in life, right? For the longest time, you're always part of the kids' generation, and then eventually you make it to the adults, and then the seniors. It's like, oh god. That senior stage is when it starts to like, oh fuck. Mortality isn't that far off. That's a fucked up thing. You ever notice in life, it's like, when you're younger, time does seem to go substantially slower. Like once you reach 30 to 40 is like, man, time is like so much faster. It almost makes you want to invest in stuff because time just flies by. It's like you'll see your investment pay off in no time. Alright, so I think we're going to take a beating this one, or let's see. Oh yeah. Let's bring in her, see if we can pull off the victory with her helping. Yeah, so who is the biggest celebrity at the convention last year that you went? Because that's usually how I can remember. Like sometimes it's Shatner, Neroy, or Nimoy. Sometimes it's who is Stan Lee. He was popular a bunch of the years. Usually everyone goes for like some sort of autograph too. Like there's one celebrity they want to get an autograph from, so they go. Did you ever see the autograph prices, how much they topped out at? Like I swear, when I first started conventions, they were $20 an autograph. Back in my day, we used to buy drugs from gangs. No, we just buy them from the government. But anyways, the autographs, I think the last one I went to, some of the autographs were $500. I was like, 500? You gotta be shitting me. It's like, that's like not, 100 was even out of my price range. Now we're up to 5 times what I could afford. Yeah, that must be it. Like the whole time scale, the aspect ratio. Yeah, because so often I tell 20-year-olds, it's like, man, 10 years flies by. They're like, what? 10 years flies by? How's that possible? Oh, fuck. I thought it was on the last battle, but that was just the second last one. Alright, let's give it another try. See if we can pull off the victory. Now, I feel these government officials, as much as we're labeling the bad guys for doing all these lockdowns, I'm pretty sure this is really still just part of the creator's plan. Like, he's got some pretty fucking wild plan. And I was going to be surprised if everything panned out really smooth. So I was like, when all this started happening, I was like, yeah, I kind of seen this coming. I even think we're in for something more big. Like, we really haven't had many things in the way of natural disasters in our life. So I think that's one of the things that we'll probably have to keep an eye out for. I was always thinking nuclear, and then when Fukushima happened, like right as soon as the fucking earthquake happened, or what was it that time? Yeah, it was an earthquake and tsunami. First thing I said, there's gonna be a nuclear disaster. Everyone at my work was like, haha, or not haha, it's like you're gonna be wrong. Japan's definitely gonna have all their nuclear shit under control. Next thing you know, everyone's like, holy shit, you're right. Fukushima's fucked. And I was like, yeah, well, It's like Japan is like pretty reliant on fucking nuclear energy, and they're in the ring of fire. So it's really only a matter of time before they're going to lose all their land to a nuclear disaster. But fortunately, it was only a minor disaster. Could have been a lot worse. That's why I always find the green movement is quite funny, because they label nuclear energy green. I'm like, what? Because you glow green? If you get so much radiation poisoning, you'll glow green. So that's why it's part of the green movement's plan. They like things that are green. It's too bad my Budokais were the first to die. We could have fucking laid to waste this team. I don't want to jinx it, but I think we got our hands on another gold chest. Yeah. I don't know what it is. My fucking room has turned into a sauna. I think my roommate must have turned the power up. Well, the main issue with toxic waste, or I shouldn't say toxic, nuclear waste, for years and years, they told all the nuclear waste companies, go ahead, build nuclear companies and build the reactors. The government has a plan. And the government's plan was they were going to make a government-run nuclear waste dump. And they told everyone in the States they could use it, and then they told everyone in Canada that they could use it. So all these companies are like, sweet, let's build nuclear power plants. The government has a plan to store the waste. So what do you know? The government allows all these plants, builds everything, and then the nuclear waste dump got canceled because all the places they told that they were going to build it, all the states or all the locations voted against it because no one wants nuclear waste buried in their country or their state, right? So Canada's actually most recent plan was they're just going to dump it in the Great Lakes. I was like, holy fuck, that has got to be the worst plan I've ever heard. So what the First Nations people did is they protested and protested, and eventually they got Justin Trudeau's plan shut down. So he wasn't able to just dump all the nuclear waste into the world's biggest freshwater supply. That would have been fucked. Can you imagine? The guy leading the green movement was going to dump all the nuclear waste in the Great Lakes. That would have been the most ironic thing ever. So some people hate Justin Trudeau because of his hair or because of his dress up routines. But I was kind of hating on him was his dumping the nuclear waste in the lake plant. But at least they stopped it. So now that's the problem. All these nuclear waste dumps, what they used to have was a plan to dump it into places. But you know what the plan is now? Now they just have like waste bins next to the reactors and they just keep pumping it fuller and fuller and fuller. And they said that's actually one of the most horrible plans ever because they used to take the waste and store it as far away from the plant as they could in case there was an accident at the plant. But now we're just storing it all at the plants. So every plant you go to in the United States, that's why they're no longer wanting to build new nuclear plants because none of them have any place they can dump it. And if you're going to open it, then what are you going to do with all the waste? And they said the catch with the dump is when you dump it in there, you have to pay to look after it for a minimum of 40,000 years. So now that the companies have to pay this fee to look after it for 40,000 years, can you imagine what the fee is just for 1,000 years to look after it? Can you imagine the fee for 10,000 years? 40,000 years? So that's where nuclear power all of a sudden really isn't cheap and affordable at all. Because then you're going to have to pay to look after the waste. Then it becomes the most expensive electricity you've ever generated. The only thing difference is you gave the bill from yourself to your great grandkids. Now they have to pay to look after it. So that was a pretty fucked up way the green movement's going. That's why always every time someone tells me there's a new green movement plan, I'm like, okay, what's the fucking scam now? Like, I never trust anything with the green movement. They have got to be the biggest scam artist I've ever seen. But I shouldn't be saying that because usually when you call someone out, that's who you are. So hopefully I'm not scamming people. Not yet. Scams are coming. No, I'm just kidding. I'm always really skeptical too when someone bashes someone. I'm like, you're probably guilty of the same thing. That's why you keep mocking them for it. Yeah, that's what we're gonna come down to, is there is technology to clean the waste, we just haven't developed it yet. So if we have to throw it in a black hole, throw it into the sun, what I'm thinking is we're gonna develop the technology of alchemy, and we'll be able to just turn one element into another. So we could like take all that nuclear waste and turn it into mashed potatoes, or something like that, right? I bet you aliens, if they got here, that's probably what they would do. They'd be like, what? Fukushima? Problem? They just go there and clean it. But we're still stuck in we don't have the technology, so maybe that is the plan. We fuck up all the nuclear waste so bad that when it goes, holy fuck, I got a piece of 130 gear. Yes! How sweet is that? Sweet as sugar. Alright. So that's why I not try to get too down the dumps. If we ever did have this big nuclear disaster, holy shit, we got 19th. That was pretty good. Congratulations, everyone in the guild. Glad I checked this shit out, finally. It's like necessity is the mother of invention. So if we fuck ourselves royally by dumping all the nuclear waste in the Great Lakes, maybe it would have been a good plan. Because, oh fuck, I just picked a new place. I wasn't even looking. Sorry guys if you didn't want to play that one, but if you ever want to pick it before I do, go right ahead. I don't want to be the one picking it every time. I'm usually so high I'm not even looking what I'm doing. Yeah, so we shouldn't get too down the dumps. Maybe a big nuclear disaster will just force us to figure out the technology to clean it. I think the technology will probably be mushroom related. Right, so yeah, this is my new team. So I want to be fire. Yeah, at least that way I can be poisoning people, and he is pretty fucking tough. So you can take a beater. Yeah, let's try that. You have already registered. Okay, that's good. Thanks, Suki, if you were the one that registered. Appreciate it. Alright, we're up to 94%. Thanks, everyone, for saving it. See if we can finish her off. Quickly. Yeah, so who knows? Maybe we'll finish or fix the way to clean up the nuclear waste. Then nuclear energy becomes really the best source. So hopefully that's what we do. That'd be kind of nice. There's a nice peachy horizon we can look forward to. My brother was actually telling me about some of his ideas for building off-grid batteries. And I couldn't believe how basic they were, but how ingenious at the same time. I never even realized, like a lot of times people build batteries when they go off the grid. They're always talking about like lead acid, or they're talking about what is that new one, lithium, or maybe hydrogen fuel cells or propane, gasoline, some sort of like off-grid power supply that's some way you can store energy. Oh, you have enough to make a gold fat chili. Should you do it? I don't believe I've ever had fat gold chili, so if I were you, I would do it. But I don't know. It's really, you have to check to see what you need in your team, what kind of heroes you want. What I'd like to do now is try to focus, like, try to set my aim on a certain goal instead of just aimlessly picking up heroes and making them. Because a lot of times I would just make whatever hero I had the ingredients to. So yeah, that's what I think you should do. Just check out your status, see what you need. If you're just making them for the hell of it, yeah, I guess why not, right? But it's good to have some sort of plan that you're working your goals towards. Right, so we're able to beat this guy. This ain't so bad. I know what I'm doing. I'm playing the game extra long because I don't want to go for that walk outside. Nah, I still gotta do it. Get some exercise. Been inside the house for like fucking a week straight. The only time I went outside was to go to work. You know, we're supposed to be doing it for the lockdown and all, but you're also supposed to go out for exercise. So I gotta make sure I don't neglect that part of it. Now, my favorite part about the convention was just running into random Star Trek people on the streets. One day we were crossing the street and Riker was standing next to us waiting to cross with us. The other day it was Neelix. He was in the elevator with us. Who else was it? Oh, the Electric Playground guys. Just run into them all over Toronto. It was fun. I never did get to go to the Hockey Hall of Fame or Wayne Gretzky's yet. So, like you said, the Hockey Hall of Fame, that'd be cool to check out. I've walked past it a million times, but never actually gone in. Is it an expensive tour? I didn't even check the price. Now, I heard about all the legendary curses and stuff that they have at the Hockey Hall of Fame. If anyone knows about hockey in Canada, it's actually cursed. It's kind of fucked up, huh? I wouldn't be surprised if that was something to do with the natives. They're probably like, hey, let's put a curse on Canada. Let's fuck their hockey. That's what we get for fucking ruining their lacrosse games. Now, when you look at the curses that hockey has in Canada, it's almost hard to believe that we even play it still. Now, one of the curses with hockey is Toronto Maple Leafs, when they had a really good player. They won the Stanley Cup with them. Must have been like the 40s or 50s, like fucking half a century ago or whatever. But anyways, after they won it in the off season, their best player went on a fishing trip on a plane out in the wilderness, and the plane went missing, and they never found him. So they lost their best player during the off season to some freak accident. And then someone said that there was a curse that they would never win again until they found his remains. And then I think that's what happened. Something about the year they found his remains, like years and years later, that's when they won again. I was like, what the fuck? That's a weird curse, huh? The Dyson sphere? Yeah, it sounds actually familiar. I've heard about Tesla's ether thing too, where you can just get energy from the ether. I love Tesla's first electric car. People don't know it, but Tesla was actually one of the first people to make an electric car, and he made it without batteries. And a lot of people have like this theory that he transmitted the electricity wirelessly through the air. But then I heard that it was actually no, that he rigged it so that you could transfer electricity wirelessly through the ground. So as long as you had something touching the ground, then you could get the electricity through. He found a way to make dirt batteries, or dirt into wires. So you could transmit electricity huge distances as long as he had like a giant tower. So that's why he wanted the Wardenclyffe Tower completed, so that he could broadcast electricity and his wireless car could drive even farther. That's why it's kind of like sacrilege when Elon took a Tesla's car and put a battery in it, because Tesla was one of the most adamant scientists against batteries. He hated them. It'd be like making a vegan car and making it run on like fucking calf baby's blood. It'd be like the opposite of what it should run on. Yeah, baby bunny's blood. That's what the vegan car runs on. That'd be horrible. Right, I gotta finish this quick. I can hear where I'm getting called to go move my uncle any second now. Now, I almost did the cross post today and aired the show on Facebook at the same time, but I did a show earlier on the gravity wells and it still hadn't finished processing. So it said you can't do another show stream until it's done processing. So I'll have to remember I can only do one Facebook show a day. I can't be like YouTube and just go back to back to back shows over and over. Which I find ironic because Facebook is only allowing me to set 720 resolution. So that should process in like a matter of like 2 minutes. So I don't understand why it's taking them so long. Probably because they have so many people uploading. And that's why they limit it to 720. If people started sending them 4K footage, they would never finish. Holy, we won the purple fragment. Thanks everyone. I bet you Suki helped organize this. Last time we got the purple, it was with her help. Now, I was thinking of multicasting the show to the new, what is it, Facebook, or not new, the old Facebook group. Jeez, I'm all out of drinks and I need a drink really bad. It's like a tiny sip left in each one. Alright, so I think I'll wrap up the show. We'll do the dungeon battle, see what other tasks. I'll do some more of these later, maybe tomorrow, or when I get back from the walk. Yeah, still a few tasks to complete when I get back from the walk. I'm gonna go take a walk through the cemetery, because man, it's really spooky and I love walking through there. I usually go for a jog if I got the energy, so I might try that too. Holy shit, sleep paralysis? Here, since you brought that up, let me just start the battle. I'll go get a book off my shelf. Luckily, my bookshelf isn't far from here, and I think the book is on it. Let me go get it. Now, in some cases, what is it? Sleep paralysis can actually be some sort of medical condition. So, just to clear that up, you should probably check that just to be safe. Not that I'm offering medical advice, but no, in other cases, people think of it as being like paranormal stuff, sort of like astral projection, out of body experiences that can be associated with sleep paralysis. Sometimes people can't move their bodies, but then all of a sudden they can float out of their body. I've had that sort of thing happen before. Actually, when I was a kid, I remember a lot of times I would wake up and I would dream that I just woke up, but I couldn't move. And then I'd be like, oh, fuck, I can't move, I can't move. And then I would realize that I'd wake up again, and then I was just dreaming that I couldn't wake up. So sometimes you have to be a little careful of that. Sometimes you have a dream so convincing, you think that you're awake, but you're actually still just dreaming that you woke up. So that can happen. What's another few ones? Missing time with sleep paralysis. I've heard of that before. I think we did a couple radio shows back at CKWR on it, now that I'm thinking about it. I think one guy told me he had sleep paralysis and then he actually had like 2 days of missing time. And he was like all freaking out about it because he didn't go to the washroom the whole time and it didn't like bother his system. So like you think if you were just stuck in your bed and couldn't move for 2 or 3 days, you would go to the washroom a couple times at least, right? So there is some weird paranormal stuff going on around in our universe. There was actually a recent Bigfoot encounter that was just reported in Canada's west coast. That is where they have a lot of heroin, so I don't know, maybe it's that. No, I'm not making fun of it. I don't think the woman was on heroin. No, I think a woman and her family reported seeing a Bigfoot, but they weren't sure what it was, so no one's sure what it is. I don't think she got footage of it either, which is hard to believe because every woman has a cell phone these days, right? Unless you like panicked. I know one time that I was seeing UFOs, I panicked. So I was like, I couldn't even reach for a camera if I had one on me. I don't know if anyone else has UFO stories, they're welcome to come on the show and share them on Skype. That'd be fucking sick. Or just paranormal stories in general. Ghosts, Bigfoot, UFOs. I love that kind of shit. I got out of it for quite a while because I got back into it too hardcore to the point where I was doing radio shows once a week, but now I'm starting to get back into it. Yeah, so be careful with the sleep paralysis though, because you never know. Hopefully it's not that medical condition thing, right? I don't know if you've ever seen that movie that's about dreams. If you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat, but if you have already seen it, maybe it was connected to that dream that you had. What is it called again? It's the movie about dreams, and it's DiCaprio, I think, is in it. Forget what it's called. But anyways, it was the weirdest experience. My brother one day he calls me. He's like, "Hey man, you want to go see a movie?" I'm like, "Sure. What movie?" He's like, "I don't know. We'll just pick one when we get there." So I'm like, "All right, let's go do it." So we go and we're gonna go watch the movie. Oh, it was Inception. That's the movie. So when we go to see Inception, we get there and we're like, "Hey, Inception. That sounds kind of neat." We're like, "All right, let's go see it." So we didn't even have like any idea going into the movie what we were going in to watch. I hadn't seen any trailers for it. Just randomly, yeah, let's go watch a movie. And the fucked up thing, the whole night before we went to watch that movie, I had really fucked up dreams, like the sleep paralysis ones you're talking about. And the dream that I haven't even seen Inception since it came out in the theater, so I don't even really remember much of it now. But all I remember is it was a movie about dreams, and I was like, man, it was so weird that I had dreams a lot before I went and saw that movie. Oh yeah, and the dream that I had before I went to see that movie was the most fucked up sleep paralysis dream I've ever had. And what it was is I kept dreaming that I woke up and then I would get up into my bed or out of my bed, go downstairs and start eating a bowl of cereal. Like all the processed poured bowl of cereal, start eating it. And then while I was eating the cereal, what would happen is I would start getting paralysis where I couldn't move. And I was getting really upset about it. I'm like, fuck, why do I keep getting paralyzed while I'm trying to eat my cereal? And then as that would happen, someone else in the dream that would be like my roommate or my nephew or someone, they'd be walking by in the dream and they'd see me all upset because I can't move. And then they would ask me, they'd be like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, I can't move. And then they'd be like, you know why? And I'd be like, why? And they're because you're dreaming. I'd be like, what? Because I'm dreaming? And then I would wake up. And then I'd be like, holy fuck, I was just dreaming, right? That's why I couldn't move. And then guess what would happen? I would go downstairs, pour a bowl of cereal. Same thing would start happening again. And a different roommate would come by. And they would say, what's wrong? Why can't you move? And I'd be like, oh no, I can't move. And then they'd be like, you know why? Because you're dreaming again. I'd be like, what, again? And I'd wake up. So I think Inception had that part in the movie where there's layers and layers and layers of dreams. Like sometimes you could be in a dream, within a dream, within a dream. I think I went about 4 or 5 layers deep into the dream where the same thing kept happening. Different scenarios where I thought I had woken up, but I really hadn't. And the last one came where I woke up and I went downstairs and instead of pouring the bowl of cereal, I just crawled up on a ball on the floor in the living room and I started crying in the dream. I'm like crying, crying, crying. And my nephew comes in, he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm crying. And he's like, why? And I'm like, I can't even remember why I'm crying. He's like, it's because you're dreaming again. I'm like, oh God. I was like, that was the most fucked up dream I've ever had in my life. And then I went and saw the movie Inception just randomly. I was like, that was the weirdest day ever, or night. Combination of day and night, I guess. Now I tried to explain it to my brother after. I'm like, man, that was weird. He's like, what? He's like, I dreamt all about weird dreams before coming to the movie with you. He's like, sure, sure. I wouldn't believe it either. It's like, that was some fucked up dreams. So I don't know. That's probably one of the things with sleep paralysis, right? I wish I could give this book away. I'd be like, oh, viewers, I got a book that could help you. But this is what it was, is astral projection, out-of-body experiences by, who is this? It says by Oliver Fox. And I find the older books are a little bit better. It says, holy shit, he's got other books here like the Book of the Dead. Wow. The Brotherhood of the Cross. It says you could get it for $10. Oh, this is one of the University of New Hyde Park, New York. And it shows the Eye of Ra on it. Well, it's like I can put it really close or really far away, and neither is going to work. Fuck. That's what I hate about these algorithms. Every time you want to show something, it never shows up. Yeah, lucid dreaming something that I can actually teach you to do pretty quick. Just don't abuse it. Now, I figured out how to do lucid dreaming by listening to a pro do a lesson teaching people how to do it for free. And he taught people how to do it on Coast to Coast AM. It's like a paranormal radio show. So I tried his method to see if it worked, and it fucking worked the first day. Couldn't believe it. It's like, it's so easy, his method. Well, I shouldn't say his method's easy. You have to be really dedicated. Okay, it's like, you ever think of when you're a kid or you're playing something like a video game and you play it too much? Like, say you get Tetris and you play it on a Game Boy and you play it for like 14 hours in one day. Then when you go to bed at night, you'll start dreaming the little cubes coming down sometimes. So it takes like an excessive amount of something that you've done the same in one day, and it'll actually bleed through into your dreams. So he said the trick, if you want to do lucid dreamings, is you have to key the things from that you do repetitively from outside world, you can actually bring into the dream world and use that to trigger a lucid dream. So the method that he figured out to do it is every time for a whole day, might even take a few weeks of like constantly doing this, is you'll probably even notice it with masks. Have you ever had a dream where you see someone walk by in the dream and you're like, oh fuck, they don't have a mask on? It's because stuff we've done in real life has already bled into our dreams. So anyways, you have to use that bleeding effect. And what you're going to do is try to bleed something in that'll help you trigger the lucid dream. So what he did is he found something that he could bleed into his dreams that would trigger it. And this was the trick. It's an annoying as hell trick, and probably no one will even try it because it's so fucking annoying. But the trick is, every time he came to a doorway, like, you know, when you walk through your living room or you walk through the bathroom or you walk through any door of any type, what he would do is grab the door frame with both hands, like on either side, and he would ask, am I dreaming? And he'd be like looking around, am I dreaming? So then after that, he would just leave, keep going to his regular day. Then he would come across another door. As soon as he walked through it, he would grab it and go, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? And it's fucked, because if you do that every day for like multiple days in a row, you start bleeding that pattern into your dreams. So one of these nights, you're going to be asleep in a dream, and as soon as you walk through a door, that effect is going to bleed through. Then you'll grab the door frame and ask, am I dreaming? And then that's how you can trigger lucid dreams. It's fucked up, but it works. I don't know, unless you never walk through doors in your dream. If you don't, then you might have to pick something else that you normally do a lot. It's tempting, because once you can lucid dream, you can do some wild shit, right? I got to the point where I abused it too much, and I was like, alright, I'm not going to keep doing this, because it's kind of mean. Basically, I just dream all the hot chicks I wanted, right? No, and that is, you don't want to get caught up living in an artificial world. The dream world is a very tempting world to get caught up in, right? You got to focus more on real life instead of fantasies. But it is a pretty neat experiment too. Makes you wonder what else you could do. I didn't only use it for evil. Then one of the times what I did is I asked my dreams, like repeatedly, if there was any advice they could give me, if there's any advice. And then one time I realized that I needed to ask my dream for advice, and went and asked someone in the dream for advice. And you know what advice they gave me? They said, pay attention to the economy. I was like, what? The economy? They're like, yeah, pay attention to the economy. I was like, okay. So then when I woke up, I'm like, why the hell am I paying attention to the economy? That was kind of fucked up advice. And then it turned out like the next week, or it might even have been the next day, the fucking Lehman Brothers collapse happened. So after the big economy crash happened, I was like, whoa, that's pretty fucked, right? You actually can ask your dreams for advice, and sometimes it could come true. It's fucked. It's like a weird power. It's like anyone can do it, but does anyone have the motivation and time to even try? Or even a goal? Like, what are you going to do? Ask for lottery numbers? Maybe try to get that out of your dream? Try to avoid death? Be like, dream, tell me when I'm going to die so that I don't. So I can avoid it, right? They'll be like, put the bong down. Put the beers away. Sober up, man. Yeah, flying is a big one that I do in dreams a lot. I don't know if anyone else has predicted the future in dreams before, but I ride drones, like a rideable drone in dreams a lot. So I'm thinking drones that we can ride are actually going to happen in our lifetimes. And I keep seeing those on TV sometimes. They're like, oh, it's prototype, prototype. I'm like, it's not going to be prototype for long, man. Those drone bikes, that's going to be fucked, but it's going to be fun. Like, I've never had a crashing dream in it yet. And then sometimes I just have the dream where I can jump really high to the point where I'm like almost flying. I don't know if anyone's had that dream. It almost seems like it's like less gravity all of a sudden, so it's like the slightest breeze and you can jump really far. It's fucked up. No, I like dream shows too. I'm gonna do another episode about dreams. Dreams is almost like one of those paranormal things where it's like so paranormal, yet everyone still experiences it. I don't know, some people are rare and say that they don't experience any dreams, but I don't really believe them. Probably just not remembering them. Remember, if you're a raging alcoholic, you usually don't remember your dreams when you wake up. Oh, come on. Is this a big battle that we're set to win? Fuck. Come on, Poison. You can do it. Yes! Yes! We finished with the victory. Hopefully it was a good victory and not just an average battle. Yes, it was. Can't believe it. I wasn't even watching. How the hell did we pull that victory off? I'll have to watch the show later. Alright, so let's give a shout out to the patrons, current and former patrons. Big shout out to all of them, one way or the other. If you guys help at one point, even if people are just helping with the Bitcoin spins, whatever you can help with, I appreciate it. Or even if you're not old enough to help in any of those ways, you can even help by sharing the show. That'd be sick. Alright, so let's check it out. We got Jim, Ray, and Travis. And the Jimmy Ray Travis music is coming out soon. What else do we got? Now, we did all the Bitcoin spins once, and I don't want to get carried away with these every episode, so if anyone wants to help out with Bitcoin stuff, I really appreciate it. Links below. Oh, but there is one thing I wanted to cover with Bitcoin. I haven't even checked it today, so this will be instant real reaction. Where is it? There it is. The cryptocurrency tracker. So we'll get my reaction video to what Bitcoin is at right now. See what it is? Oh, it's down another 4%. So it's down to 35. I was thinking, geez, if it hits 30, I'm tempted to buy in. But I don't know if I really can. I'm like one of those people that always curses never investing in Bitcoin. So I almost want to just drop $1,000 into it, even though I can't afford to do it. So I can at least say I never can bitch that I never invested in it again. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. Alright, Ethereum, it's up 2% or 0.2. Tether's up 0.02, still a buck. So it must be just changing however the US dollar changes. Alright, Tron, it's up 0.31. And BitTorrent is up another 1% too. I like that. Alright, so if anyone else wants to check out these daily prices of Bitcoins, just go to CoinMarket app, create an account, and then make a watch list. Then any of the currencies you add to the watch list, you'll be all set. Now, I might be making a new tutorial video soon on how to do the new live streams with Facebook, because I noticed they just changed everything, so someone's going to have to make new tutorials for everything. I might as well try that a bit and see if anyone likes my tutorials for it. And I'll be learning a lot about it as I go, and maybe people will share tips so I can get more tips on how to stream better. Alright, so yeah, hopefully everyone can help me and I can help everyone else. It'll be a mutual situation. That's why I try to keep all my affiliate links too. I like to do mutual affiliate links, not just like me selling t-shirts, but I do that too. But not just that. Alright, so anyways, Patreon, if you want to help out with that, you've seen who has. We got a monthly plan starting at just $1. So if you want to help with that, it may not seem like much, but it actually makes the world for someone like me, because I'm still almost 50, living in my mom's basement and trying to get my feet on the ground again. So I'm sure with the lockdowns, probably the story about 90% of people these days. So at least it doesn't sound that bad anymore. Right, everyone else is back down to my level. I'm just kidding. No, I know a lot of people are fucking having really rough times with the virus, so I don't want to make fun of that either. As much as I always say I want the lockdowns to end, I just want to be clear, I still believe in the virus and all that. I'm just wish we had our human rights and fighting the virus. I don't really want to give up my human rights to fight the virus, but hey, if it works, it works. Hopefully that's the route we're going. So anyways, Society 6 Finish It Quick is my specialty. It comes on t-shirts and bed sheets, both popular with the ladies. Hideout TV, it'll pay you to watch videos. Swagbucks will pay you to shop online. GameKit will pay you to play video games, and free Bitcoin will pay you to do these free Bitcoin spins. And every spin you do helps the show out, so I really appreciate it. And hey, if you got any shows or any projects and you're starting YouTube channels, you got a whole list of affiliate links that you can just sign up to and start sharing for yourself too. So I hope everyone does that. That'd be sweet. Helping everyone, help myself. Maybe we can all get along. Get back on track in this world. It'll be the roaring 20s in no time. Alright, so speaking of the roaring 20s, we got the virtual mate sex machine. And I have no idea what that has to do with the roaring 20s. But anyways, yeah, the virtual mate sex machine's for adults and men only. But if ladies need a sex machine, I won't let them down. I'm just kidding, I will. I would if I could, if we ever don't have lockdowns in our lifetime. Right, so take care everyone. Just make sure, yeah, I almost forgot. We go to the fire screen. Fire. Oh yeah, click show more information. My website too. All these links. You'll be set. Fire. Where are you? Fire. Alright, we got the fire screen going. So now I gotta pick an item that we're gonna vaporize today. Holy fuck. Let me just go back to Clone Evolution for a sec. How did I get level 130 armor, not equip it? That's fucking sweep. Or sweet. Sweep. The Reaper's Hourglass. That's actually my character in Entropia, as I dress up as the Grim Reaper, so that's pretty sweet. Kind of shitty right on the day that someone in my family's dying, but I guess that's just a coincidence. Fucking game. Rubbing it in, you bastards. It's probably the creator. It's just reminded me, man, death is part of life. Don't get too down over it. Alright, let's wrap up. Affiliate links. Yeah, I think we got all the affiliate links. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the fire screen. That's the one. Fire. Right, if the Reaper's Hourglass. God, what timing. If that happens to get into your vaporizer, and it sucks balls, because it sucks when people die, and give the show a dislike. But, if it doesn't happen, you can give the show a like. I really appreciate it. But, just make sure you never buy the products from my sponsor, because it will ruin your life. Bye for now, everyone. See you later. Later. Sorry for the super long show. Holy fuck, 2 hours. Appreciate everyone who stuck with it. Yeah, that's my dream. I think BFG in our lifetime will increase. How much it'll increase, probably anyone's guess. If I had to guess, I would say we might see it reach 1,000 in our lifetime. That'd be fucking sweet, right? If it actually reached 1,000, that'd be enough that I could retire. So I don't know. That almost seems ridiculous. So maybe 100. Let's go for 100 as the first goal. If it reaches $100 one day, that'll be sweet. Yeah, but who knows? It could crash at any moment. So remember, everyone, only afford or gamble what you can afford to lose. Right now, I'm just losing time. The most precious resource of all. See you later.